Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to the No DQ live recap of Monday Night Raw for July the 27th, 2020. Shout out to the chat room for tuning in live, and thank you to everybody watching, whether it's live or on demand. Let's get started. We are now on the road to SummerSlam. We kicked off Raw with a recap of last week when the Viper, Randy Orton, took out the Big Show. Orton came out for a promo. He talked about how he's had many nicknames over the past 20 years. He's been part of various factions. But he noted that guys like Steve Austin and The Rock, they could not hold a candle to him because of his accomplishments, his longevity. And then he noted that something is missing. What is missing? It's the WWE Championship. He woke up having a desire to once again be the WWE Champion. He brought up Drew McIntyre, who is in fact the current champion. Orton gave McIntyre some credit for making a big comeback and beating Brock Lesnar in 5 minutes. However, Drew McIntyre has a problem. According to Orton, McIntyre's problem is that McIntyre has something that Orton wants. That, of course, is the WWE title, and Orton officially challenged McIntyre to a championship match at SummerSlam. TJS with a $1 super chat with the banana as the avatar. Thank you for that, TJS. And Asim with a $2 super chat just says WWE. All right. What about it? Randy Orton walked to the back, and as he was heading to the backstage area, we had Nia Jax walk out, and I guess this was a little throwback to the Royal Rumble when Orton gave Jax the RKO. They had a little stare-off. Jax walked past Orton, got into the ring, and said she heard all this talk about Orton wanting to be WWE champion. She feels the same way about the Raw Women's Championship. She woke up, she wants to be champion. This was her first appearance on Raw, by the way, in like a month. She took out Charlotte Flair, and then both of them disappeared. But she's back now, and she said that she was screwed over last time she faced Asuka. Shayna Baszler interrupted the promo and said, "Nobody gives a damn what Nia wants." Nia responded by punching her in the face, and then we had this big fight break out between them. Referees came out. And after the commercial break, we did not have this match. It was saved for later. Instead, we had the Street Profits in the ring for a promo. When was the last time on Raw we had 3 in-ring promos in a row and 2 in the same segment? We had Orton and then Nia Jax on the first segment, and then after the commercial, we had the Profits in the ring for a promo. Mike B, the current No DQ Super Chat champion with a $2 Super Chat, says, "I'm the champ, that is all." That is true, and if you guys tune in to No DQ&A video for the YouTube premiere, you could possibly take that title from Mike B. Now, the Street Profits did the introductions for this triple threat tag team match, and they did commentary for it as well. The participants, Cedric, the sports entertainer, and Ricochet, Viking Raiders, and even though they lost to the Street Profits last week, they got another opportunity here. Angel Garza and Andrade. Before the match got going, Garza took off his pants and threw his pants at Ford. And then we had the match. Garza and Andrade did not want to get in the ring. They were just standing on the outside. And then the baby faces in the ring, the Raiders and Ricochet and Alexander, they all went to the outside and went after the heels. Later on, Andrade and Ricochet teamed up for a little bit, but then Andrade stabbed Ricochet in the back. Ricochet, being the dumb babyface, turned his back to Andrade. What a moron. And then Ivar went on the top rope and did this big dive onto his partner, Eric, as well as Ricochet and Cedric Alexander. He took out all three guys and himself, and then Alexander got back in the ring only to get hit with the wing clipper, thus making Andrade and Garza once again the number one contenders for the tag team titles, and they will face the Street Profits at SummerSlam. They took a cheap shot at the Profits at the commentary desk, but then ran off. There you go. We're getting the rematch, whether we like it or not, at SummerSlam between the Street Profits and the team they already beat, Angel Garza and Andrade. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, I feel bad for Cedric being stuck with Ricochet. I feel bad for Ricochet considering a year ago he was red hot, and look at him now. But thank you for that super chat. Backstage, we had Nia Jax arguing with the referee John Cone, and that led to a one-on-one match between Jax and Baszler, which did not last long. They brawled on the outside of the ring. Apparently, they are both deaf. They got counted out, double count out. They continued to fight. Security came down, officials. They got beat up, and the referees managed to finally get them apart from each other. So I guess this feud must continue. Will asks how Jeff Meacham is doing. Jeff is doing fine from what I've been told. And if you guys would like to keep up on Jeff, make sure you message him at _Jeff Meacham. For those of you that missed the announcement yesterday, Jeff unfortunately tested positive for COVID-19, but he seems to be doing all right. He's in good spirits. Feel free to send him a message on Twitter at _Jeff Meacham to give him some support. Cat Terminated by DQ with a $5 super chat says, Psycho Jet Black, who knows? Maybe Ricochet could surprise us and become a good heel in the near future. Look at one of my favorites, Brian Pillman. And that is from Ken. I mean, nothing is known until you try. Nothing ventured, nothing gained, as the saying goes. So yeah, maybe Ricochet as a heel could surprise everybody. When Sami Zayn turned heel, I had mixed feelings about it, but he knocked it out of the park. Mark Matthews with a $2 super chat. And Mark says, so disappointed you won't call it the Summerfest. Well, there's not going to be much of a fest without fans, so it's kind of hard to call it the Summerfest. What name could we call SummerSlam without a crowd? I mean, there's talk about maybe the show will take place at a beach, maybe on a boat. That's the rumor and innuendo going around right now. So we got to think of a name for SummerSlam this year. If not the Summerfest, an event with no people, what could we call it? Mike B with a $2 super chat says, thoughts and prayers for Jeff Meacham, speedy recovery. Thank you for that, Mike B. I'm sure Jeff appreciates that comment. Tony H says, summer slump. Yeah, that one works. Kurapika07 says, bash at the beach. Psycho Jet Black says, summer sick. I don't think WWE will be going with that one. None of those names, quite frankly, but what tagline would WWE use for this show? They still haven't used one yet. We know we had the greatest wrestling match ever, Money in the Bank, climb the corporate ladder, the risk is worth the reward, the horror show. Like, what are they going to do for SummerSlam this year? TGS with a $2 super chat says, is Lucio, not sure how to pronounce this name. I'm not even sure who this is. Lucha Underground? I have no idea. is this random person booking lots of eye piercing? I do not get the reference. TGS went way over my head. So you're going to have to clarify what you meant by that super chat. Let's see here. Let's move on to something else. Mark Henry was backstage chatting with Bianca Belair and Ruby Riott, and then later we saw him chatting with Drew McIntyre, but that was it. Just a quick cameo. Same thing as Ron Simmons, and apparently Mark Henry and Ron Simmons were there to maybe start something with MVP and do a remake of the Nation of Domination, and I guess WWE decided not to do that, but since Mark Henry was there, they just decided to throw those guys in a couple of cameos. TJS says, known as the Godfather of Gore from the 1900s movie director, LOL. Really? I thought that was Herschel Gordon Lewis, but I'll take your word for it, TJS. So moving on here, we had a recap of Eye for an Eye, and then we had Seth Rollins come to the ring, and he cut this promo, but before the promo, he had talked to Murphy backstage and asked Murphy if Murphy is really with him. Back in the ring, Rollins said he should be in a good mood, but he's not because Dominic Mysterio is there, and Rollins invited Dominic to the ring. Dominic came out, and Murphy even held the ropes for Dominic. What a nice man. Rollins said he was going to give Dominic the chance to speak his mind, get things off his chest, and he offered Dominic some support, even offered him a hug. Dominic responded by attacking Rollins. Murphy made the save, and then it was a beatdown 2-on-1. Eventually, Aleister Black came out to try and even the odds, but Black's arm was taped up, and Rollins and Murphy exploited that. Rollins gave Black the curb stomp and then pointed at the steps and ordered Murphy to do the dirty work. Rollins asked the question to Murphy, "Are you in this for real?" And then slapped him in the face. I actually liked this storyline, and I think if WWE keeps building up on this, maybe Murphy could eventually turn babyface and have a breakout moment. I mean, I thought this was well done. Murphy eventually gave in and did the spot where he put out the eye of Aleister Black by jamming it into the steel steps. So whoever manufactures those eye patches, they're going to get some business from WWE and AEW with the way things are going. And then Dominic came back again with a kendo stick, and he was swinging wildly, attacking both guys until they fled the scene. Again, I liked this segment. I thought it was pretty well done. Now let's get to a few of the super chats here. Gabe with a $5 super chat, thank you for that, says, SummerSlam, when women are easy on the eyes, just ask Rey Mysterio. Well, I don't think Rey Mysterio can be seeing much at this stage of the game, so it's going to be hard for him to enjoy any part of SummerSlam, regardless of whether there's eye candy or not. And my man, Hank Schrader on the shitter, is back. He says, yes, I'm here, baby. Here's $5 for good old JM Jeff Meacham to buy some ice cream and kill the virus. Man, if only ice cream could cure the virus, we would be in some great shape. But thank you for that super chat. And Infamous Chris with a $5 super chat says, kind of off topic, but Adrian, I think you owe Jeff an apology regarding your ignorant comments yesterday. Shows you have no sympathy. I have no idea what that's about. I guess I missed the comments from Adrian, but if Adrian said something inappropriate, I hope he does apologize to good old JM Jeff Meacham. All right, let's move on here to the next segment, which was R-Truth backstage with Mustafa Ali. And R-Truth wanted to know if Ali was coming for the 24/7 championship because R-Truth is planning on getting his baby back. Ali said no, he is not going for that championship, but rather he is going after Bobby Lashley. And R-Truth had a warning for Ali. He said he's keeping his eyes on Mufasa. He meant Mustafa, but of course, it's R-Truth. We then had the VIP lounge with MVP Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, who is still the reigning and defending 24/7 hardcore United States, North American, I-95 champion. And nice little tribute to Shad Gaspard. Shelton Benjamin wearing the t-shirt. That was cool. Ali was the special guest. Said he's happy to be back. He's happy to be climbing the ladder. And he hopes to become a real champion, unlike MVP. MVP said that, yes, Ali could become a real champion if Ali makes the right decision. Basically, joining up with MVP and the Beatdown Clan 2.0, or the Hurt Club, or the Hurt Business, whatever they're called. Ali said it's not going to happen. He thinks for himself. And MVP said there was another guy who thought for himself, and that was Apollo Crews. But now Apollo Crews is sitting on the couch. Ali said no means no. And then all of a sudden we had R-Truth attack Shelton Benjamin, attempting to win back his baby, but was unsuccessful. Then we had the match, Ali versus Bobby Lashley. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, would the 24/7 title be gone if R-Truth got injured? Really good question there, and I'm shocked you actually asked me an on-topic question that had nothing to do with Ricochet. I feel like the title would be put on ice, laid to rest, whatever. Yeah, I think WWE would drop it. I think it's only around because it's the R-Truth gimmick. That's how I see about it. So we had this match between Ali and Lashley. Pretty back and forth match here. At one point, Tozawa attempted to pin Shelton Benjamin and win the 24/7 title, but that did not work. And then we had the Ninjas laid out by Shelton and MVP, and Lashley even went after one of the Ninjas and threw him into the post, and this Ninja just got completely wiped out by Lashley. It was a pretty cool spot. Pretty cool bump that the Ninja took. I want to know who that Ninja was. He took a hell of a bump. Anyways, back to the match here. We had Lashley hit this elevated flatliner, which Ali kicked out of. And then Ali hit this DDT from the corner and then went to the top, attempted a 450, but Lashley got out of the way. And then Lashley put on the full Nelson and defeated a very game Ali. I know some people on Twitter were upset about this, but between the two of them, Lashley's the bigger star. Let's be real here. Now, I would argue, don't even book this match in the first place. Ali just came back, and you're pretty much cutting off his momentum right away. He did put up a good fight against Lashley, but I would have kept these guys apart for a longer period of time and let Ali pick up some wins and build some momentum. But that was what I would have done, and it is what it is. WWE went in this direction, and if you're going to book the match, I would go with Lashley to win. So there you go. Dolph Ziggler backstage said he doesn't know what the stipulation is, but he vowed to beat McIntyre and then go on to SummerSlam to get an opportunity at Drew McIntyre. Apparently, WWE decided to change course and not have this match on Raw be for the WWE Championship, which I think just made the whole match pointless, because if the title's not on the line, why even bother? And it gets worse. We'll get to that in a few minutes. Let's talk about Asuka versus Sasha Banks for the Raw Women's Championship. So Sasha and Bayley came out, cut their promo like they do every week. I liked what they've done, but I think it's getting a little bit overkill. They're on way too much. They're getting overexposed, my opinion. I'm sure some Sasha and Bayley stans will not be happy with my comments, but I prefer to see them once a week. That's just me. Now, Sasha said that Stephanie McMahon, who made this stipulation for the match where the winner can become champion by a DQ or a countout, Stephanie made this match because she's jealous of her and Bayley, because they run the whole damn company. I am failing to understand how Stephanie McMahon booking this match created an advantage for Asuka. It took away Asuka's advantage, where the champion cannot lose via DQ or countout. So why did Stephanie punish Asuka by making this match where Asuka can lose the title on a DQ or countout? Wasn't the whole point to give Sasha an opportunity, but not screw over Asuka in the process? So this was the first booking problem I had with this, and obviously this was made last week, but going into this match, I'm like, this is ridiculous. Like, Stephanie is a babyface, right? And Bayley and Sasha cheated at the pay-per-view, so why would you give Sasha an advantage here where Asuka doesn't have a champion's advantage? Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, I thought you said champion should be on both shows. I said that the women's champions should be on both shows. I do agree on that. But they don't need to be. It's not a requirement. Like, they could take a week off. It's okay. And then it was getting even more ridiculous when they were on all three shows. Like, it's not really necessary. What I'm saying is, on Raw, you could have, for instance, with the tag team titles, have a number one contenders match, and then maybe the next week the champions show up. They don't need to be on the show cutting a promo and having a match every single week. That's my point. So anyways, Bayley said Sasha's going to tap out Asuka, called her the Empress of Nothing. And then we had Asuka and Kyrie Sane make their entrance. Kyrie chased Bayley to the backstage area before the match even began. And this was a hell of a match. Up until the finish, I thought this was maybe the best Raw match of the year. It was really good. High quality match between these two, maybe even better than their pay-per-view match. I thought it was great. So back and forth here with the two of them. Sasha kept trying to cheat, take advantage of the stipulation, which Stephanie McMahon so unfairly made, trying to screw her because of jealousy. Of course, it doesn't make any sense. But if you just watch the match for what it was, match was really good. Sasha attempted to pull an Eddie Guerrero. She threw the championship in the ring. When the referee tried to put it away, Sasha used the other title, threw it at Asuka, and then laid down like Eddie would. But unfortunately for Sasha, the referee caught it and kept the match going for some reason, did not DQ Sasha for attempting the cheat or throwing a championship. Doesn't that count as like doing something physically to somebody, throwing the title at them? But whatever. Sasha went after the leg of Asuka, and then Asuka went after Sasha's leg. A lot of working over the body part stuff. And Sasha came off the top, which Asuka countered with a code breaker. I wonder if Chris Jericho said anything about that on Twitter. I did not check. Sasha, with another tribute to Eddie Guerrero, did a frog splash for a near fall. And then immediately when Asuka kicked out, put on the Banks statement, screaming, I need this title. Then they fought on the outside of the ring, and Sasha picked up Asuka and drove her knee into the announce table. and Asuka almost got counted out. She managed to get back into the ring at 9, and then Asuka played possum. She rolled up Banks, but Banks managed to get out of the pin, put on the Banks statement again, which Asuka countered into an ankle lock. And then Asuka was on the verge of winning with the Asuka lock when all of a sudden, after 15, 20 minutes here of this match, on the big screen, we have footage of Bayley attacking Kyrie Sane. And Kyrie was screaming in pain. She was screaming Asuka's name. Asuka was trying to put on the Asuka lock, but was torn what to do and decided to put her friend ahead of the championship, left the ringside area, got counted out. Therefore, your new Raw Women's Champion, Sasha Banks. Bayley came back out. The two of them celebrated with the 4 championships. There you go. Sasha Banks wins the championship on a countout. Good job there, Stephanie. You really showed Sasha, didn't you? Tony H with the $2 super chat says, I swear Bayley and Sasha are the 2-woman power trip. Pretty much, I've seen that comment a lot in the various chats on Twitter and Facebook. So, yeah, they could definitely play up on that. I think this could have been done better. I think, first of all, the stipulation was ridiculous. And second, I think that maybe Bayley should have done something a little bit more dastardly to Kyrie, like threatened to smash her head into a cinder block or something, or actually do it where Asuka felt like it was urgent, like her friend's life was literally in danger. I mean, really all Bayley was doing was throwing her into the garage door in the parking lot and stomping her, which wasn't anything really out of the ordinary. But Asuka must have felt like Kyrie was in grave danger. Or, at least you could have Kyrie saying, stay there, Asuka, finish off Sasha, and then Bayley gets the cinder block and does something like threatens to smash it over her head or actually does it. I think it could have been executed better. So that's my take on it. The match itself was great, though. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, Charlotte comes back and wins the title, isn't she? Would not surprise me if that's how it goes down. As the match was going on, I was almost thinking, man, they should just let Asuka win clean and this would be the best Raw match of the year. But they had to do the screwy finish. Or they could have done the finish where Bayley tries to help Sasha, but accidentally costs Sasha the match to set up their feud. But clearly that's not happening right away. The Bayley and Sasha breakup, I think because of SummerSlam not happening in Boston, they're delaying it. Again, I think it's going to get to the point where you're dragging this out too long. But we'll see. We'll see what they do with it. $5 super chat from Oofman Entertainment. Thank you for that. He says, wasn't there talk about a Sasha versus Stephanie match a few years ago? There might have been, and I did see a few people on Twitter bring that up. So, oh man, that is one match I do not want to see. And I'm going to go on record and say it now. I do not have any interest in seeing Sasha versus Stephanie. Will it happen? Anything's possible, especially with the ratings being down. WWE might bring in Stephanie to try and get some people invested in the product again, create some buzz, but I don't know how I feel about it. JSpin401 says the boss versus the boss. I don't know. And also, I would have liked to have seen a better send-off for Kyrie. I know they wanted to do the injury angle with her, but again, they should have done something a little bit more dastardly. The problem is, pretty much right when this segment ended, Kyrie tweeted out her farewell, because she's going back to Japan to be with her husband full time, and that report came out a week or two ago. And not only did she tweet that out when she was supposedly like viciously assaulted by Bayley, but WWE retweeted it. So it's like WWE cannot on Twitter even follow their own storyline here. Like, we're supposed to believe Kyrie got beat up so bad that Asuka had to forfeit her championship, basically. Yet Kyrie is tweeting about her farewell, and WWE's retweeting it. So I thought that was really dumb. Yeah, there's definitely things I would have done differently. But overall, hats off to Sasha and Asuka for putting on a great performance. So they deserve the credit. Writers, people in charge of WWE Creative, they suck. Let's move on here. Sasha and Bayley celebrated backstage, very happy. So get ready for more of those promos. And then Asuka came out of the trainer's room screaming, maybe because she was angry that the creative team was retweeting stuff on Twitter about Kyrie Sane leaving. I don't know. But yeah, she was very upset. And then we had a pretty cool tribute to Regis Philbin, who was a very big deal in American television. He passed away this weekend at the age of 88, I believe. And he had a lot of involvement with wrestling over the years. Many times throughout the years, WWE stars would go on his show. And he even appeared at WrestleMania 7, did an interview with The Undertaker, or attempted to do one. Undertaker was busy taking his measurements. I feel like he should have been in the celebrity wing a long time ago, and it really surprises me he never got that spot just because he was always a WWE guy. Like, WWE could always get that publicity from Regis, from having the champion, whether it was Bret Hart or Hulk Hogan or Steve Austin. All those guys appeared on the show. And Uthman even brought up how Regis had a tug-of-war match with Yokozuna. That's one of the fan favorite segments from back in the day. Next up, we had Murphy, who I believe has new entrance music again. Somebody let me know for sure. I thought it sounded different from his old theme song that he's been using the past couple of months. Hard to tell because they're all so generic and bland, but I feel like it was a different one. I feel like his old song had like record scratch sounds or some crap. This song was not much better, by the way, if it was a new song. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, do you remember Regis on Simpsons Halloween episode? Which one? There's been like 30 Halloween episodes, so you're asking me to remember a Halloween episode that was perhaps from a long time ago, and there's been so many of them. I don't even know when that was, so if it wasn't in the 90s, I definitely don't remember it. TGS says it is a new theme song. Thank you for that. I appreciate that, for pointing that out. Anyways, it was Murphy versus Humberto, and match was fine, you know, pretty standard from these guys, what you would expect from them. Murphy picked up the victory with the Murphy's Law, and who's the announcer? Tom Phillips called him the disciple, which gave me Ed Leslie flashbacks. Humberto lost again, but, I mean, don't really care about Humberto at this point, so, you know, to me, he's basically enhancement talent. Which means probably in 3 months, he'll win like a fatal four-way match to get a U.S. championship match on the following week's Raw. We had Drew McIntyre come out for the main event, his match against Dolph Ziggler, not for the WWE title. Before the match, McIntyre accepted Randy Orton's challenge for SummerSlam. He wants Randy Orton to think he's the underdog, but he already beat Brock Lesnar in 5 minutes. Brock Lesnar underestimated Drew, and Randy Orton's going to end up doing the same thing. And Drew said not going to be an issue because the Claymore will get the job done. and Randy Orton will see the Claymore coming. Happy birthday or happy belated birthday to Raymond Williams in the chat room. Dolph Ziggler came out, and then Drew McIntyre announced the stipulation, said that it will be an Extreme Rules match, just like the pay-per-view, only this time McIntyre can also take advantage of the Extreme Rules. Gabe with the $2 super chat, thank you for that, says, at least Tom Phillips did not call Murphy the booty man. Yes. Let's be thankful for that one. This match I had a really tough time caring about because, number one, non-title match, as I mentioned earlier. Number two, the stipulation. Like, I get it. It's kind of cool that Drew McIntyre is trying to do a match where it's an actual fair fight instead of having a disadvantage. But he already beat Ziggler with the disadvantage. So how are we supposed to believe that Ziggler has any chance of winning? He couldn't beat McIntyre with a handicap, and now you're doing a regular match. So I get it from McIntyre's character perspective doing this to get a little bit of payback and beating Ziggler in a fair fight, but man, I just could not get into this. There was one cool moment where McIntyre launched Ziggler like a lawn dart into the plexiglass and actually broke it. Shout out to Solo Scooters because he asked for one, and that's the only one I'm giving just because I'll end up not talking about the Raw match if I keep shouting out everybody in the chat room. One-time deal there. McIntyre started throwing chairs into the ring, and then he pulled out a table. Ziggler managed to get the upper hand with a low blow, and then started using a kendo stick. McIntyre made a comeback. He slammed Ziggler through the barricade. They got back in the ring. Ziggler hit the zigzag, which I did not believe for a second was going to end the match, and of course it did not. And then McIntyre hit the Claymore, sent Ziggler through the table. 1, 2, 3. McIntyre beats Ziggler again. And then as McIntyre was celebrating his hard-fought victory, Randy Orton came out of nowhere with the RKO, picked up the WWE Championship, put it around his waist, held up the title, and that was our closing segment for this week's Monday Night Raw. TJS with a $5 super chat says, Drew McIntyre bored me as a heel, but is great as a face. His reign has been way better than Kofi Kingston's. He looks like a superstar, but I think he loses to Randy Orton. Yeah, he might, especially if WWE is hell-bent on a third Randy Orton versus Edge match, only this time it's for the title. I mean, maybe they'll drag it out. Maybe McIntyre wins and then Orton gets a rematch and then wins the title. I could see that happening. $5 super chat from The Game Is On 100. Thank you for that. He says, Bayley attacking Kyrie to make Asuka lose the title to Sasha, and Barney Gumbel's voice, I like it. I've seen from a mile away, or an RKO Drew McIntyre. That was obvious. Well, thank you again for that. The Game Is On. And Psycho Jet Black with a $2 super chat says, why does it feel like Drew McIntyre is a better champion than Braun Strowman? Well, because he is. Because he's not wrestling in stupid cinematic matches and beating guys in handicap matches that have no credibility. I mean, I would say that's the reason why. All right, so let's do the letter grade. Oofman Entertainment with a $2 super chat says, Treehouse of Horror 9 Season 10 featuring Regis. Okay, so that sounds like it's post-2000 Simpsons, or maybe 2000, 2001, in which case I'm going to have a harder time remembering it. I still think the best Treehouse of Horror was the one where they did the spoof of The Shining. with the no beer and no TV make Homer go crazy. I think that was my favorite Treehouse of Horror. Anyways, Raw letter grade. We're not talking about The Simpsons here. Kev with a C+, Darren with a C+, Will with a C+, ZOMG Ruler with a D, Infamous Chris with a C, Muhammad with a C+, D Ross 2 with a C, and Mike B with a C, Matt Helms with a C, and JSpin 401 with a C-, Jeremy Dorset with a C, and Too Sweet Cosplay with a C, CC Drink with a C+, Shaddy Snake with a B+ because of Sasha. That's one of the higher ones I've seen. TGS and Michael Wayne also give it a C. I'm going to go a little bit higher than a C. I'm going to go C+ because of the strength of Asuka versus Sasha. Just their match minus the finish. I thought they put on a hell of a match. And if you just go by the match itself, maybe the best match of the year on Monday Night Raw. But I just felt like the finish could have been done better, like I said. So yeah, C+ for Raw. It was fine. Cat terminated by DQ with a $5 super chat says, Regis Philbin is such an amazing host for the Millionaire Show. His presence might be the reason why I watched the show. When has it been canceled? That I do not know. I am not familiar with the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire show. But thank you for that super chat, Ken. I do appreciate it. Oofman says, how many times will we say great match except for the finish? Probably until WWE gets a good creative writer that isn't Bruce Pritchard or Vince McMahon. To be quite honest with you guys, like, we need some new blood, but I've said that many times and don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. All right, guys, we're going to be talking more about Raw and the road to SummerSlam on the No DQ review Tuesday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Make sure you guys tune in for that. And then I'll be back Wednesday and Thursday with the AEW and NXT recaps. Friday, SmackDown. Saturday, No DQ review, or No DQ&A video, I should say, with your chance to become the Super Chat champion. Dethrone Mike B if you can. And stay tuned to NoDQ.com. Psycho Jet Black with a $2 Super Chat says, what's an example of a bad match with a good finish? I cannot think of one off the top of my head. So as much as I would like to answer that question, I would need some time to think about that. That is something I cannot answer live. But maybe I'll answer that on No DQ&A video so I can take some time to do a little bit of research and give you a good answer. Too Sweet Cosplay says Hogan versus Rock. I guess, but I don't even think that was a bad match because of the crowd atmosphere. So again, it depends on what you classify as a bad match. But I would try to think of one where like it just technically was not good. Well, that one wasn't. But it was just a terrible match in many ways, but the ending was really cool. Infamous Chris with a $3 super chat says, check out Terrifier on Netflix. Why? Why should I check out Terrifier on Netflix? I mean, I'm curious, but I need to know why. So let me know, Infamous Chris, why I should check out that movie, why you think I would like it, why it's worth my time. Let me know, and maybe I'll check it out. Thank you guys for tuning in again. I appreciate your viewership and support, and I will see you guys next time. Stay positive and be safe.